Okay. We will start with a call to order for the Oregon City Arts Commission meeting on March 20th, 2025. And we'll do a roll call vote of members.
Good evening, everybody. Amanda Dexter. Present. Joyce Lemaster.
Here.
Daria Loy.
Here.
Emma Lugo.
Here.
Josh Planton.
Here.
Myra Ravenwise.
Here.
Choir.
Nope.
Rebecca Sierra.
Here.
And Amy Wilson.
Here.
Thank you, Ann. Next up is approval of the agenda.
May I also recognize that James Graham, Economic Development Manager, is joining us for a portion of tonight's meeting. I also am anticipating that Mayor McGriff is going to join us. She is in another meeting right now, but she did tell me that she may come in progress. So,
Thank you, Ann. Thank you, James, for joining. So the agenda before us, I have some proposed changes, but I wanted to go around the room, see if there was any other proposed changes to the agenda. Any comments? Okay. My proposed changes were, one, due to time constraints, let's hold off on approving the February 27th minutes. We'll also have the February 20 minutes and the March 20th minutes to approve at our next meeting, but it'd be best just to have all of them in one go. We had a couple items that came up that I want to throw to the end of the meeting if we have time. Some that are time sensitive, but came in last minute. One was the Clackamas Art Alliance Public Art Commission Committee. We were notified of that in the last week, so I want to talk about that briefly. We have the public event funding from the Oregon City Economic Department, round 2 funding, see if we want to do anything there. And then the Clackamas County Cultural Coalition Project Grant Program came out with a grant program that ends on April 17th. And I want to see if there's any interest there in submitting a grant for that. Finally, I do want to do a quick introduction of the May Commission meeting presentation, such as a quick outline. So I want to add that item, should be 5 minutes at the end of the meeting as well. So all those items at the very end of the meeting should be quick, hopefully easy, yes, let's go for it items, but I want to get any feedback on that. Any objections to that proposed changes? Okay. With that, is there a motion to approve the agenda with those changes?
A motion to approve the agenda.
Thank you, Choir. Amy, second. Thank you. Any objections? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. We consider the agenda approved with those changes. I think that brings us to, since we'll skip the minutes, brings us to public comment. Any public comments?
didn't receive any. I don't know if we have anyone in the audience you want to share a comment.
Sure, it can be now or later.
Feel free to come up, I think, with public comment time. And please introduce yourself.
Hi, folks. I've met most of you. Ariella Sophie Sternberg with the Clackamas Arts Alliance. I just wanted to extend an invitation to you all. We have sort of a committee of committees. It's an arts groups and council committee, which just is an opportunity to connect municipal arts commissions from around the county. So folks from Estacada, Oregon City, Westland, et cetera, to see what's going on in different places, as well as different arts groups and guilds. So we used to have Trieste as a representative from Oregon City Arts Commission. She's obviously no longer on the commission, so I thought it might be time to revisit that. There's no particular term of service. It's a little bit more informal. It's one Zoom meeting a month. So if anyone is interested in doing that and telling other people throughout the county what's going on here in Oregon City, what you all are up to, collaborating, learning from each other, we would love to have you on board. So just let me know.
Thank you. Real quick, any questions?
Would we have to vote? We have to vote on that?
If we wanted to appoint someone, I would, yeah I would want to vote to just formalize it. Quick question from me. When's the next meeting for that group?
Good question. It's actually on Monday,
Okay.
noon to 1. That's a tight turnaround, so no expectations that someone's going to clear their calendar for next Monday, but you would be welcome to join if
Okay.
you have the time available.
And the kind of objective of the group, is that,
Good question. I would say the objective is mostly connecting and communicating. It's not like mission driven. There's no goal that the group is trying to accomplish. But I do know there are some things that can benefit from collaboration. Westland has this idea of having a sort of arts corridor going from Lake Oswego to Oregon City all along Highway 43. So that's a sort of project that would benefit from connection across communities and across city boundaries.
okay,
That's a great recent example. We're hoping that that can happen at some future date.
yeah, okay.
I think I have one other public comment. Actually, I just remembered. Clackamas County Cultural Coalition has a new grant cycle. I see Daria's nodding her head. It might be on the agenda already, I don't know. But grants up to $5,000 are being awarded, thanks to our county commissioners for making more funds available. So if you have projects that are maybe in need of more funding, feel free to apply. It's on our website.
Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thanks.
Could we vote on that at the end of the meeting and just add that to the, just to vote on a representative for that group?
Yeah, that's one of the things that was on the list, so it's on there. Cool. Okay, next item up is discussion items, approval of the MOU with the city. So I believe this, we have approved the language of the last meeting, and just because that meeting wasn't a formal commission meeting, we need to approve it now so we can sign on that one. So,
And in your packets at your desk, it's corrected for the language that we talked about at the retreat.
yeah. Are there any questions on it before we ask for a motion? Okay, is there a motion to approve the MOU? Amy motioned, is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, say nay. Okay, we'll consider it approved. Next up is introduction of the Arts Commission protocols. Daria?
So as you, well, not everyone, because maybe as a summary for the newer commissioners, last year, in number of occasions, we discussed the need to have some protocols put in place to clarify a little bit more about the role of the commission, the protocols on how we make decisions. Number of those have been embedded into the grants proposal, but there were a number of things that were not really clarified. And so there was a need for doing that, and so I took on the responsibility of putting together first drafts. My understanding up till now was that the idea was to have a first draft that then we would discuss, would be shared prior to this meeting and then discussed in this meeting as a committee, so I could gather input from everyone on the original draft, and then there would also be some reviews with a number of teams from the city to get their input too, so they could be then amended and edited also in light of those that feedback. But things went slightly differently from what I understood before coming to this meeting. And so what you see here is part of what was the draft that I created that I wanted to discuss. You see in red, my understanding is what's in red is modification, cancel, edits that have been placed. I do have a lot of questions about some of them, but I just saw it now. So there's some additions in the appendixes that were not there before. They're not highlighted completely in red, but definitely there are things that were not there originally. So it's a bit hard for me to sort of give you a little bit of a rundown of what the thinking was bylaws, because it makes no sense to even say that, because there've been so many changes that perhaps you might want to look at the document as is, which is an amalgam of what was originally there and edits that I was not included or involved in.
And if I could also just jump in, Daria, first of all, thank you very much for your work and also for keeping this like in front of our eyeballs, that we needed to continue to get back to this, because I think you originally brought this back up October or something, several
Yeah,
months ago.
6 months ago.
Yeah, so thank you for that. These are really governing protocols for how we interact with each other as commissioners. And I included the bylaws for us, because there's some information that were in the protocols that are already in the bylaws. So I thought it was important to have that as a reference. And then there's also the municipal code. So there's a couple different documents that talk about the behaviors and the norms for the Oregon State Arts Commission. So I didn't want to talk about the protocols without having those other two documents available. But there are things like the financial management practices that this group is interested in establishing. You know, the protocols could be a great place for those. So that's why I have all that documents in front of you.
Do we have anyone who's a member of Clackamas Community College, Oregon City School District Arts Action Alliance of Clackamas County?
Sorry?
I'm just reading here that the Arts Commission will represent a representative of Carnegie Center, Clackamas Community College, Oregon City Schools.
That is actually straight from our current website, is not something that was actually taken from the current bylaws and current rules.
Yeah.
Regardless, I'm asking,
Yeah.
do we have anyone who's a representative of those?
My day job is with the Oregon City School District, if that counts.
Well, there we go, that counts for sure.
Where is this? I'm sorry, what page?
Is,
Number 4.
Do you function as a representative of the school district here at the Arts Commission?
Asked to.
Right. But I mean, I think the short answer to your question, Emma, is no, we don't have anyone serving in those official capacities.
Okay. Maybe that would be something to look for next round, since
So-
it says that on our website.
one thing that it would be worthwhile perhaps considering is, is that there have been changes to the timelines of the proposed ways of selecting arts commissioners, and those timelines were created on purpose in a certain way to really enable us to have plenty time to receive a suitable amount of applications, because we know that having applications doesn't necessarily mean quality application all the time, and so having plenty time for us to receive a considerable amount, and then having also equally plenty time in case we don't receive enough, to have a buffer of time for us to promote further application process, so we can have good quality applicants, and then also at the same time not find ourselves as a commission under the gun to sort of rush it off without being able to read all the material. So now I see that everything has been modified to make it later in the year, and personally I think that I would heavily caution us to do that. But again, these were all changes that were made. I'm not quite sure about the rationale, so it's very hard for me to provide more information about that.
I mean, going back to the composition, it just, I mean, I'm looking at it some more, it also says, we shall represent members of music, drama, visual arts, literary arts, structural and landscape design, and 2 members of citizens at large. So it seems like for next time we do this, we really need to focus on what our bylaws say.
Those are what the bylaw is saying. Actually, those are copy exact.
You know, I'm saying, it
From
sounds like
our
for
current
when
bylaw.
you're talking about commissioners, it sounds like we need to refocus on getting our arts commission in alignment with what our bylaws say, because right now we're almost entirely composed of visual artists.
Right.
Oh, yeah, that one I totally agree. Like, so you know, there are a number of paragraphs here that are literally copy and paste from our bylaws currently posted on the website. So it's not something that is necessarily wrote up.
We
I
might
just
have a
took
very
it
different
and
arts
read it.
commission if it.
But I agree. I think it would be good for us, to your point, to have a composition that is more diverse from the perspective of the different positions and to actually have representation of those arts in terms of practitioners that do those arts. Yeah, absolutely.
I'm reading that shall as a may.
Well, yeah,
It says shall, but it reads as a may, and it feels to me like the people that originally came up with it are saying you may, and it would be great to have the spectrum. I don't,
so the first sentence, members may include representatives of the following entities.
Yeah.
So it's not like if we're not able to recruit people from any of these entities
not
to
a
represent,
problem.
it's not a problem, it says may. But yeah, the shall is interesting. Like, I definitely think that that is a guiding directive to make sure that we have a diverse representation of the arts on the board, as well as to citizens at large, which means
Yeah, yeah.
just people, they don't have to be involved in the arts, just, they live here. So,
I do have a question about that is not included here, but just because I was hoping we would have a conversation about this, which is really to do with what happens if, for instance, we have an application for commissioners, and we have three, like last time, three places open and available, and what happens if we have three application, right? In the past, my understanding is that there are three places open, there are three applications. Well, there you go. Those are the three lucky ones that get the position. And that's one approach for sure. I think it would be worthwhile considering perhaps if there are other approaches, because filling the seat doesn't necessarily mean bringing to the commission good representative for the commission. It just means filling the seats. And personally, I think it will be, and also that's why the timeline that was proposed was different, because it was really to enable us to have a number of applicants, but also an opportunity for us to have commissioners that are selected because they're selected for that purpose, versus actually finding ourselves in a situation which not all the time happens, but it may happen, where we have only so many applicants to fit those seats, right? And then we find ourselves in a situation where, well, everybody comes in, but that doesn't mean that those would be maybe applicants that we would normally select if there was a choice. And so having more time enables us to have a more diverse set of applicants, and also for us to have the bandwidth to promote it in the community, so more applicants can be reached and can be included
Yeah.
potentially, right?
yeah. I would like to bring up, though, also that out of our current board members, like I myself am a visual artist currently, but I have for many years been a musician. I've recorded and toured and performed, so I understand that aspect of things. Daria
I used to be a dancer.
she used to be a dancer. She also was an architect. She's currently both a visual artist and a gallery owner. And I know Emma was on the board of an independent radio station. So we have Amanda, who's a teacher and who runs a music festival. I think we have a good diversity. I just want to point that out. I think we're doing well. And if anyone wants to pipe in about their skill set and be like, yeah, I do this and that, so that'd be great.
My background is in fine and performing arts, so not just visual, but also art, music, and theater.
Thank you.
Great group.
Yeah.
You're a great group.
And
in addition, I was going to say, one of the things that might be addressing, most of the groups that I've belonged to have not stated you will have exactly this number. It's generally a range. And so, 5 to 9 is allowed. And so that if you have the qualified candidates that you're talking about, great, pile it on. You can't be any higher than 9. But you can't get any lower than 5 if you're not all that happy. Is that something that we might be able to adjust?
One thing I will say is, at the end of the day, it's up to the mayor to appoint people to the Arts Commission. So while we can give our recommendations, if she wants to put a full 9 on, that would be her call, or his call, whoever is the mayor at the time, which is kind of the issue we run into. This isn't a self-appointing commission. We have to give our feedback to the mayor, and hopefully, whoever they are will, take that into consideration when making the decisions. But at the end of the day, I think what we have to kind of balance here is what we want to see and what would be best for the commission and the reality in which we work. And to Daria's point, one of the things I will say about this is I talked to Jacob, the city recorder, and he's the one who kind of drives the entire commission board vacancies and application process in the fall each year. And he was saying, there's some things that it's because they're all kind of happening at the same time. Our schedule can't necessarily flex that much from the general schedule of everyone's. That's one of the things I think that we're going to run into a little bit with that. But what I suggested to Daria was that her and I can sit down with Jacob and talk through it. And I think there's a connection that needs to be made between our intent, which is to get to the best representative, broad spectrum group of individuals on the commission each year that we can, and the day-to-day task actions that he has to take, and try and find as good of a middle ground as we can there to facilitate both objectives. So that's what I will say to that point. Any other comments or questions on it?
Yeah, I just want to come back to this for a minute. I think that the intention here and the bylaws, I really appreciate everybody saying what they do, and that's great that we have lots of people here with, but I think the intention here in the bylaws, with the first four, we've never had, I've been on the Arts Commission for like 3 or 4 years now. We've never had a representative of Clackamas Community College who's a member of the Arts Commission. We've never had a representative of the Oregon School District who's a member of the Arts Commission. I think that those two organizations, which are so foundational to our community, we should be reaching out to Clackamas Community College and Oregon City School District and asking each of them if they would consider nominating a representative to be considered by the mayor to be a representative on the next Arts Commission cycle, because it's so much more, we'll be so much more impactful as an Arts Commission if we have these first four are great great ideas, and it's like, it would be great if we would consider making sure to include representatives of those organizations as part of our commission.
And I don't disagree. I think we can advocate to those organizations. You should be joining if you can to help us, broaden our group.
Also, if I could, I talked with Ann about the protocols and the other the protocols, the bylaws, and the municipal code. And I gave her these bylaws and the municipal code to present to you today, because at the end of the day, it is the municipal code and the bylaws that will rule the day. So in order to give the protocols really should be a document that defines how you behave amongst yourselves.
Yeah.
It's more personal to you. And so, so what I would recommend is that you do have the bylaws, you do have the code, and the protocol should address issues that are not in either one of these documents. It should go right to specifics, like, for instance, instead of, regurgitating over what the bylaws and the code says, what probably should happen is that you start with code of ethics amongst yourselves. You go straight to the specific item that's not in the bylaws, that's personal to this commission. And so that's important, and I think that would really narrow this down and enable you to focus on the things that are personal to the commission. And keep in mind, yes, it is the mayor. You recommend to the mayor of the commission. You don't decide, because the mayor may also say, I would just like to see what you did not like. And she could appoint someone that you didn't like.
Yeah.
So it's truly her. So I would say you can get as granular as you want, but I suggest that you keep it simple, keep it elegant, keep it straightforward, so that it's not so cumbersome and not so granular as to make you feel that you can't move. But at the same time, it is designed to make sure that everyone operates on the up and up, and decisions, or I should say recommendations are made with the best intentions of the commission as well as the mayor. What I do recommend is, in order to help with this, what we could do is, from the staff's point of view, is we can sit down with Doria and anybody else that wants to go through this, so that we can compare what the bylaws say and what the code says, so that we don't repeat ourselves in a document, and then just focus on those areas that are somewhat personal to the commission, this commission. And that way, it's much more focused.
Thank you so much. I have a proposal actually that I think it might make actually things even faster than doing that. I think that, this is a first draft that was just meant to spur some discussion, and I was happy to have that as a starting point. And now, that you're suggesting to have, the bylaws and re-editing this and modifying it, I think perhaps it would be easier and faster if Anne, well, she's not here, so I kind of I'm pointing her or something. But Anne, at this point, given that she knows the bylaw, she knows all the other things, the draft has been provided. I think if it's a matter of basically further redacting and modifying and stripping things out and, and kind of going to the core of it, I think is something that doesn't necessarily need my involvement. I was happy to get the ball rolling, but, evidently can be modified and changed without my input. So I'm totally comfortable for that to be what comes next, and I don't need necessarily to be involved further.
Rebecca, you had your hand up on Zoom. Do you have a comment or question?
I didn't mean to.
No.
Sorry.
No worries.
Okay, it was a good conversation, though. I will say, though, actually, I do want to say something. In that document, though, there is a section that was also referenced in the grant or the grant application documents that Choir and I were working on. And this has to do with the commission's code of conduct, whatever you want to call it. But that if we are sitting as members of the commission, that we not take advantage of being granted grant monies for our own personal projects while we're sitting on the commission. And so I feel like that's one area that could be clarified rather quickly. And that really makes sense to me. If you look at other commissioners and board members, they often have to recuse themselves because there is a conflict of interest. And in my mind, one of the conflicts of interest are funding yourself as a board member.
Yeah.
So I feel like that piece is very important if we're going to do a little, here's how we want to conduct ourselves, one sheet or something.
Thank you, Rebecca. Because we have a full schedule tonight, I don't want to spend too much more time on this. The plan was not to approve this tonight, but to just get the initial verbiage out there, share the work that Daria's been working so hard to put together the last few months. I think it sounds like maybe the path forward, the next step is to give people time to review offline, see if there's anything else that you think we should add to this. In the meantime, having a conversation with staff to go over how this ties in with the bylaws and municipal code, and make sure that the items in here, align with that. And I'm happy to take, part of that if Daria, if you want to, or if you
No,
are
please go
willing
ahead.
to.
Yeah.
If there's anyone else who wants to join that, by all means, we can add you to that list. And then we'll come back in April and talk about, any changes we've made to the document, and see if it's ready at a state that we want to approve, or if we need another, revision cycle to approve it. Ultimately, I would like to see this approved in the next, few months. and get it going, but happy to take the lead from the other commissioners. So everyone okay with that approach and those next steps?
Yeah.
Okay. Again, thank you very much, Dara, for all the work on this. It's a lot of time and effort, so I appreciate it. Okay. Next item on the agenda is the 2025 Art Commission projects. So there are a total of 4 projects that we talked about. As a reminder, we had the artist or author talk and poetry reading, the art show performance event, the Arts for Every Heart contest, and the website collateral development. In addition to that, we had the Plan B options that Amy and I worked on. How I like to maybe structure this a bit just to keep the flow going is have each project leads talk about the project, give kind of the updated information that they acquired between our retreat and now, answer any, niche questions, cycle through all of them, and then at the end, circle back to see where we stand in terms of budget and capability of getting these projects done in the timeline we have. And after that, I'd like to then, if there is any room available, we could talk about the Plan B options. I know Amy has one Plan B option she does want to talk about, so we'll include it in with the other 4 projects. And at the end, we'll decide on approval budget and with next steps. Sound good, everyone? Okay, so first up then, in just the order that I had, was the artist and author talk poetry reading. That was Emma and Mara, so I'll hand it over to you both. And I believe you handed out.
Yeah.
Would you like to take it away?
Do you mind?
I don't mind.
Okay. So yeah, we met last week and for coffee. This is just, this handout that I gave is not, it's based loosely on what we talked about, but it's also just something I did on my own. So I know you if you have another idea, please feel free to present it. I did a little bit of research. I came up with like 4 people that were possibly people that we could bring in as a speaker series, notable, looking at people who are notable scholars, writers, public speakers to come and speak in Oregon City. And I looked at 4 people that I thought might be interesting. One of them was Kim Stafford, the former poet laureate of Oregon's poet laureate. David Lewis is an indigenous historian specializing in Oregon tribal cultures. Lydia Yuknavitch is an acclaimed Oregon writer, and Carl Abbott is somebody who focuses on history, specializing in urban and regional history. These were just 4 ideas. I mean, there could be any number of ideas, but what, at least one of the ideas that Myra and I talked about was reaching out to these people, inviting them to come speak in Oregon City, reaching out to like the end of the Trail Center or the library, or maybe Clackamas Community College, finding out what their space fees are, making an agreement with the author or speaker to come in and speak about some issue that would be relevant to, your average Oregon City person. So it's we have this extra money. It's an opportunity to invite members of our community to come and to get a little education, a little community education sponsored, and also to promote the Arts Commission. So that was kind of like the idea that I had. And this is my proposal for some of the steps to follow through. Do you want to add to that, Myra? Because I know that you were talking.
I'm sorry, what was the last thing you
Do
said?
you want to add to that?
No, I think you summarized it really well. And I was excited about the people that you found out about.
Okay.
I did some research on locations, but I didn't have exact numbers. Because I think the hope was that we would have some numbers, but we didn't have quite enough time to touch base again for that.
For this particular part of our budget, I would imagine looking at honorariums of somewhere between $500 and $2,500, depending on the speaker.
Yeah.
And then space rental. Can we rent space? Can the city rent space, James? Can we reach out to if we had an event in Oregon City that was sponsored by the Arts Commission, can it be rented On behalf of, okay,
But also, there's space that could be obtained.
okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, either way. So
Yeah.
maybe we focus mostly on the honorarium then.
You could also talk to businesses down in downtown Oregon City about hosting them. So there's coffee shops or wine bars and stuff.
I'm kind of thinking of, like, for a really good quality speaker, I'm
Yeah.
thinking of a space that's more like a seating kind of.
I think the library has got a room for
Yeah.
events that is free.
Yeah, the
Is
library has a
it like,
room. It
I
might-
don't know, I've never been in an event there,
Yeah,
so.
I mean, it might
It
work.
seats 50.
Yeah.
Oh, only?
Oh,
Yeah,
really?
and
Yeah, the big one, that's what it says on the
If
website.
we do multiple speaking sessions, then we get 50 people to each event, and
I
they're
think that
standing
would be
room
good.
only, that would be good.
That would
I think that would be brilliant.
That would be good.
So, it's
Let's not
just,
set the bar too high.
anyways, so that's that idea.
Yeah, so, I mean, the cost varies quite a bit depending on who is available within our time period and what they may ask for their time and compensation. And then the cost of the venue as well, it can vary widely. I mean, but free is optimal because I would love to give more of that money to the people who are coming to speak if we can. That would be ideal.
I definitely think free venues for this could be easy between like the community center, between the library, between like the church buildings, the Unitarian Church, the Baptist Church. I feel like there's good options for free that could like host a good amount of people and have a
Unitarian
nice.
Church would probably cost money.
Oh,
What
yeah,
about the
okay.
Clackamas
so.
Community College? Do they have it free or they charge? Clackamas Community College? They have a big space, they charge.
I mean, I just think that it's, I think it's okay if we include space rental in our
Yeah, I think-
proposal.
Yeah, I think so.
Because it would be nice to give it more space.
Yeah.
Well, especially for a Nobel poet laureate, it would be nice,
Right.
Yeah.
Okay,
For all of them, they're pretty amazing.
Some of our budget may, depending on the venue, some of the budget, depending on the size of the venue and the allowance of the venue, maybe some of our budget for that could go toward light refreshments. Anne suggested that, and I thought it was an interesting idea.
Yeah. Be catered.
Timeline-wise for this, are you envisioning a single event with multiple speakers or multiple events with one speaker?
Oh, yeah,
Multiple events with one.
Multiple events with one speaker,
yeah,
okay.
good
And
question.
Any concerns, I know in the past, like when we do grants and things like that, we always have to do an open call. You've identified individuals I really thought were great selections. Is there any concern that you have or have talked to staff about that?
No, I haven't. I mean, I just assume that people who are prominent writers are not the kind of thing that you do an open call for.
Yeah, and you're correct. This is a little different than that. And of course, as you said, the Pioneer Center has a big room with a stage.
Yeah.
And AV system, so.
Yes, okay, cool. I
Yeah,
just didn't
they-
want to get hit in the knees as we're running for this.
Yeah, that's a good point.
Okay. Cool.
I
So
know
next,
that, sorry, I know that it's hard to pinpoint down the budget right now, but maybe each group could just do like a real general idea of a budget, and then when we meet again in April, we can nail it down some more. So if you were to make a,
I will share this at the very end, but I have a budget
Are you
right now
doing a
going
budget
of
right-
all of them.
Nice.
Yes, I'm just putting in some random numbers.
Okay.
Based on what people are saying and what they have available.
Okay.
At the end, we can look at it just to give us an idea of like where we could allocate money and if we need to say no or yes to other things.
Okay.
So,
perfect.
great. So next up is the art show performance event from Choir and Amanda.
Okay.
Yeah, choir and I got together, we started hashing this out, we put some hours in and tried to start figuring things out, but I think it would make the most sense that choir if you explain kind of how it works.
Right, yeah. I would like to say that this is my first time seeing because Amanda was good enough to do most of the actual work of like printing things out and typing up this thing for us. And I gave her numbers that were incorrect math as I just did it again. So
Okay, well, that's okay.
That's my bad.
And then also, I noticed that for some reason, a couple of lines are missing right there in that artist entry info section.
Yeah.
So I can fill in that blank.
fill in that blank, okay. So the idea of the fundraiser is that it would be twofold. It would be, well, actually threefold, honestly. It'd be to give a platform to amateur and professional artists to sell their work in our community. It would be a platform for the Arts Commission to engage with the community and show the community that we are actively providing opportunities for both artists and patrons of the arts. And third, it would raise money for the Arts Commission, yay, to do more good work with arts in our community. So the rundown, it's kind of based off of another show, so I will say that. The rundown would be, artists would get small 6x6 panels to create artwork on. And we have a timeline for when we'd invite artists. Well, I'm getting ahead of Amanda's thing, but they will create whatever they want. We'll have guidelines of like, of course, public art appropriate things. We will have an event with live music and hopefully some type of catering. People will come and they'll purchase the art. The artist will receive half of the purchasing price and we will receive the other half. So the purchasing price, all pieces will be $40. The artist will receive 20, we will receive 20. And that's how it goes. Any questions? Amanda, if you want to jump in.
Yeah, the part that's missing there is just that how we were gonna try to recruit these artists, and we, the part that's missing says that we would start doing this as soon as the Arts Commission says, let's do this. Because we need to start letting people know immediately. And I think it says that we would also be using, let's see, posters, flyers, reaching out to local community, community arts groups and things like that. Does anybody have any questions about the logistics of how this thing works?
So you're playing one event, one day. Is that correct? Or are you thinking it's going to be multi-day?
And the date actually we came up with was June 14th. So that this would be done before the fiscal year ends. I can go on and talk about the actual event itself if we're ready for that.
Sorry.
I was going to say, let's hold off on that. Let's get through the allocating all the budgets and stuff, and then once we say yes, go with it, then we can go.
Okay, well, I did want to talk about that a little bit because it does influence the budget.
Yeah, it does, yeah.
Because we had a variety of ideas about where we could hold this. One of the places that I reached out to was the Hive Social, and they offered to donate their space for free upstairs, the ArcLight, which would be really cool because it's kind of swanky and nice, and people would want to come there. However, for Choir and I had initially thought we would want to have a longer event. The catering and bar fees would end up totaling about $4,000 for that. So we could shorten the event, and then that would reduce that amount. And that's just for like charcuterie kind of food, and then the full bar. But that would be to pay for the bartender and those sorts of things.
The other option for a venue is to use the First Baptist Church. They already have a sound system. It's easy to hang art on the walls, and we were thinking of inviting, like how Daria does at her events, seeing if like a wine tasting room would come and just provide the wine and people would pay for their own drinks, or we could provide a token or something like that at the door, like as part of our budget. That would be really cheap. They already have a sound system. We wouldn't have to like have it hauled in or pay someone. The cost of that venue would be $175. So,
But we would have to bring in outside.
but we would have to bring in outside catering, yeah. So that's the downside, so.
Real quick question for James. Any concerns with alcohol being served at a event and what we need to do there?
You read my mind.
Okay. I got vibes coming.
The city cannot be involved in buying wine or alcohol.
Yeah, we wouldn't be buying it.
But someone would have to be, so the participants would have to buy their own alcohol.
Yes.
And have their own liquor license. The other thing is that, and I have to do a little bit further research into it. I mean, I'm looking right at it, quite frankly, but you can't touch money. So you can raise it, but it has to come to the city, and it might have to go into the general fund because you've been already given a budget. And so therefore, when you raise money, you very well may not be able to keep it for yourselves. It may have to come to the city's general fund. So I had to do a little bit more research because, quite frankly, I'm looking at the municipal code right now, and it says something totally different. It says, the commission shall have the authority and power to solicit funds or grants from individuals, corporations, and other government agencies. Such funds shall be deposited in the Oregon City Civic Improvement Trust to be dispersed by the Arts Commission in pursuit of its assigned mission. So therefore, if you were applying for a grant and you received a grant, it would go into this trust fund so that you could use it for the arts. But I don't know if that applies to, if you raise money for yourself through a venue and it goes to a trust fund, I think that's a different kind of situation. So you have to be cognizant of that. So I want to make sure. Now, it's okay to fundraise on behalf of others. It's okay to give people exposure, and there's nothing wrong with that because the commission is supposed to be promoting the arts. So, but it can't be viewed as enriching itself.
So if we did want to do this event, then it would probably make more sense for us to choose a nonprofit that we wanted to donate the proceeds to, as opposed to keeping it for ourselves.
Exactly.
Okay.
Noted.
It's fair.
Or maybe
three
give
awards,
all the proceeds to the artists.
Yeah. Could we?
$40 is.
So the other thing about this is that Choir and I discovered that this isn't actually going to really be that much of a fundraiser because it's going to basically break even.
Gonna be break evener.
It's a so James, could the money that's brought in go to cover the cost of the event?
Yes.
Okay. However, we couldn't. If there was overages, we couldn't keep that.
That's right. It has to go to the general fund.
So basically, if we broke even, completely even, we could be like, we are reimbursing ourselves for the cost of the event?
No, you're basically paying a caterer, or you're paying someone.
Right, but we're saying, so we already have the money, this is part of the projects that we're trying to do to spend our money before the end of the fiscal year. So the cost of the event would be around the same amount that we would probably raise with the amount of artists we're hoping to recruit. So to your point, like, of us breaking even, like,
But would these funds be stipulated to having to be spent by June 30th then? So if we spent the
Well,
money,
these-
we raised
yeah.
the money back, so we have it now back. Those funds would be available without the June 30th limitation, or is that something you'd have to check with Matt on?
No, actually, what has happened, I mean, we do this all the time in other things, but when you have an event, you can't view it as raising money to cover expenses.
Correct, yeah.
You're raising money to pay for the logistics of having that event. So if you have a caterer, if you have a speaker, if you have a place that you have to pay rental to, then you use your budget to pay those things. And we, in the Economic Development Office, will pay those things directly based on what you tell us, where the money should go. But it's really just to cover the expenses of putting on whatever you're putting on.
So we could spend the money from our budget and then collect money from the event, put it back into the
Yeah, where would that
budget
go?
Well, if you,
to reimburse the
No,
expenses.
no,
no.
no.
No, you basically, you have to have a you have to have a purpose, first of all, to do this. And if, for instance, if you're having, I was trying to listen to the logistics, so if you have artists that you're trying to give exposure to, that's one thing, that's fine, but it's not, it's, you can't use the money to, it's not a business. So you have to use the money to pay for
Yeah.
whatever logistics you have, and then that's your budget. It won't make a profit. It has to, you have to pay for those logistics.
Right, but we're saying we have the money to pay for those logistics.
Yes.
Correct. If we have any money come in, you're saying whatever that money is, even if it's like just enough to recoup the cost of the event, right? Whatever amount of money that is, that needs to go to some civic fund. That would not be something that we could be like, oh, that is part of our budget now.
Does
that make sense?
Yeah, it does make sense. I'm sorry, I was on another plane. So you basically, you'll be charging to come to this event.
No, we're not gonna charge anyone to come to the event.
So how do you raise
People are
money?
gonna buy the artwork, and then the artist is paid. So this was like modeled off an event that was used to help a nonprofit. It was used to help the Oregon Food Bank. In this event, everything was sold for $40. The artist got $30. The panels were provided free, which we're trying to do also, because the artist is already donating work that's way more worth way more than $30. So the artist is already donating a lot of themselves. And then $10 went to the Oregon Food Bank. And this used to happen every year in Portland. It was called the Big 500. They raised a lot of money through this event. So we thought, since we've been encouraged to fundraise, like we could do a fundraising event. But it seems like you're saying that if we do a fundraising event such as this, we would have to put it directly into a nonprofit or the city municipal fund, and then hopefully it would be reallocated to us at some point to be used in our budget.
It won't be reallocated to you. You will have a set budget every year from the city commission.
It goes away.
It goes away.
You raise money for the city.
So yeah, we just raised money.
Could
for
we
the
raise money
city
for another of a program that we have identified? Like, so one of our programs is to raise money for art education in public schools in Oregon City. And we run that program, and but it's this.
You're going into areas that are unusual for government. So what I'm basically saying is that you can use the money that you have to pay for logistics of the event, and any proceeds that come forth, you could use it to. I think you said give to another charity, that kind of thing. But you can't use the money for another program. You can't wash the money.
Gotcha. So, yeah, I mean, that's correct. So, for our purposes tonight and in approving something, if we were to approve an art event, it would not be to fundraise. It would not be for the purpose. It would be for the purpose of doing an event, doing an art event, interacting with the community and artists and art patrons.
Well, let me say, I think it'll be really fun if we do it, and it will probably cost us about $5,000, give or take.
Well, more than that, because my math was wrong on the panels,
okay.
but,
What's your math on the panel?
So it said 400 to 600, it would be 750, would be the base, the lowest, 750 for the panels. So.
Okay, so maybe
bump
more
it up a
like
little bit.
$5,500 to $6,000 to do the event.
Yeah, which that would be cool.
One question I have is, putting on events is a lot of work. Would you want more money to maybe hire someone to help you plan it?
It's too soon.
No, I don't
You
think
can get
it's a
an
one-day
organizer
thing.
this late.
Yeah,
There's people that I think in the community that have good, have some experience planning events, it doesn't have to be like, it could just be a stipend for someone who we want to try and just help allocate, some of this work.
I think that's a good idea, Josh,
So-
because these things have a
So,
tendency to take a
well-
life of their own.
If we can back this up, so we could change the nature of the event slightly. I like the idea of having performing artists play, musical acts. I sound like musical acts, old-timey vaudeville. But sorry. But maybe we could change the nature of the visual art component to be to just give a platform for local artists to show and sell their own work. And we're hands off. Like, you can come up, you can set it up here, because at that point, we don't have to worry about grids to hang things up. We don't have to worry about a lot of things. We have to worry about a sound system and a band, catering and a venue, and promotion. And then the artists can come themselves with their own artwork, have a way to hang it up and display it.
How are you going to organize the installation, though? First come, first serve? I mean, you need a plan for.
No, I understand that. Yeah, but I understand that. Yeah, you need a plan, correct? And that would be based off the venue and the number of artists. So, I mean, and maybe we don't have time to do something like that, but maybe we just do a music event, honestly. Or just a meet the Arts Commission event with maybe a couple visual artists that we and some music or something like that. But I think it's a good idea to have an event to interact with the community.
Can you do both? Can you do, are you changing your mind because you don't think you have enough time, or are you changing?
No, I'm changing my mind because we can't do a fundraiser. We've been told to fundraise, but we can't fundraise this way. It was not going to work.
But if you're doing it to raise awareness of existing local artists,
Yeah,
and then the money goes to those artists, that's not a fundraiser event.
correct. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, we're not.
So you could still have that component to it, and the money goes to the artists who participate.
Yeah.
I think part of the draw for people to come to this event would be the fact that they could go home with a very affordable piece of art.
That's true. Yeah.
So I think that is, I think that's important to consider.
Yeah.
Maybe don't call it a fundraiser.
Don't call it a
Yeah,
fundraiser.
maybe 100% of it goes to the artist and.
We'll have to cover, there will be costs. I love the idea of there being music, local musicians performing, people will dig that, and that'll be another draw.
Even if it's just one band, but multiple of it, 2 or 3 throughohout the evening? What were you thinking?
Just as long as there are no conflicts of interest.
Yeah.
Right.
Question, can we use our funds to pay for service staff at a catered event? Just not purchasing the alcohol?
Yes.
Okay.
You'll have to have an OLCC certified server.
If we did do it
And that does cost you.
if we did do it at the Hive, then that would be included.
That wouldn't be, that wouldn't be a problem.
Okay, in light of time, let's jump to the next one. So this is the Art for Every Heart contest, so Emma and Joyce.
So, for this one, Joyce and I didn't have a chance to meet, but I think we both submitted proposals. So I don't know, do you want to go first, Joyce, with your proposal, and then I'll go with mine?
Okay, well, it looks like your,
Mine is pretty different from
yeah,
yours.
I had a whole different scenario.
Yeah.
I'd like to involve the schools for this. I've questioned, how do we reach out to the schools? I've got, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 9 categories, and then there are subcategories for the age groups. So, and I had no clue as to, how much money this is gonna cost. But I had a category visual arts 2D for K through 12, junior high and high school, and then 18 and over. They could submit all mediums, and do we want a specific size? For dance, same subcategory. Music instruments, same subcategories. A poem, do we want a specific length? And I'd like it all to be original work, not, just interpreting someone else's work.
I'm sorry to interrupt. Is this Emma's proposal that's written?
No, like I said, we didn't have a chance to meet, so we have two
I didn't
proposals.
think it was.
I don't think I see the second one.
I don't think we have a copy of the second one. I think this is what Emma put together and Joyce is reading off of what.
Just read it. Okay, that's what I wanted to see if I was missing something.
Here,
Do you want me to make copies of that?
Yeah, I only got 3, so.
I can make copies of it.
Yes, please.
And then story, song or vocal, visual arts 3D, such as sculpture, pottery, and then a film, and then photography. So I was trying to cover all of the artistic bases. My questions were how are we going to present these awards? Is this going to be an online thing? Are we going to have an event?
I think that's all to be decided. The point of right now is to figure out cost and to see if it fits within what we have budget-wise to spend by June 30th. And then to figure out, okay, are we able to do this project in the timeline we have? Because that's the biggest thing is we're basically 100 days away from June 30th.
Yeah.
And that's going to move quick. So I like your proposal. I think ultimately it might need to be simplified down a bit just to fit in that time.
Very broad.
Yeah, no, it's great. I think it would work really well, but unfortunately we just have a tight timeline. And then Emma, I see yours. Do you want to go through yours here real quick? And
Yeah,
then
sure.
we can maybe talk some numbers on it.
Sure. Yeah, this one actually has numbers already. But I mean, the numbers can be changed, obviously. So for this idea, I thought, part of what we're trying to do is we're trying to spend this money by June 30th. And this is an easy way to quickly spend money and also to promote the arts and to promote the Arts Commission. And to give, several artists an opportunity to both showcase their work and give one artist a chance to really showcase their work. So the proposal here is that we have a billboard campaign and that we put up billboards around the city that, align with our slogan, Art for Every Heart. And we would put out a call for artists to design a compelling visual representation of our slogan, Art for Every Heart. And the billboard would also include information about how to connect with the Oregon City Arts Commission. And hopefully by the time we have this up, we would have our website up that would also show how to connect with various arts organizations here in Oregon City. So the proposal is put out a call for artists on April 1st, put together a panel to select the winning submission, which would mostly be composed of the Arts Commission, but we might also choose to ask representatives of the community to come help us make the decision. The winning display would be featured for, say, a period of 3 to 6 months. And the artist compensation would be generous. I think the idea is to generously, reward the artists. So have like a winner and runner-ups, and then rent the billboard. This might also include marketing promotion through social media, through press releases, and maybe even advertisements in local papers. So it's the idea for this proposal is kind of spending the money and spending it through established spaces where it's pretty easy to spend money, like spend money on billboards, spend money on advertisements in local papers, and also spend money rewarding artists for their submissions. And the idea is basically just to promote the arts, like to let people know the Arts Commission is here, have something really beautiful for people to see. It's kind of temporary, so it's not quite the same as the sculpture over here on the corner, but it lets people know that the Arts Commission exists, and it's also a way to lift up at least one artist in our community. So that's kind of the proposal. There's a timeline here, and all of these numbers can easily be, like we could just choose one billboard, and have that for like 3 months. the advantage of this is that like, if we paid for a billboard, we can pay for it before the deadline. You know, even if the billboard's up after the deadline, all of this can easily be done within our timeline.
Yeah. That's a good proposal.
Question, can we do that if we pay for a billboard that's for 3 months? Or does someone else need to pay for it and then we have to, once the final end of 3 months is done, we pay them?
No, you can pay for it ahead of time.
Okay. Any other questions on this project?
I'd just like to say, like, this is great because it can use like the full amount of money that we need to use. Also, I think there's ways that we could not have to use all that money. My question to you is, we have a panel of judges, including members of the Arts Commission and community representatives. Is there a reason that it wouldn't just be the Arts Commission, or is it just community involvement?
I think that based on our experience with the sculpture, it would be good to invite a couple of community representatives just to sort of give us a perspective of, you know, like maybe invite somebody from the McLaughlin neighborhood, maybe invite somebody from Elyville. Just, you know, if they would like to be part of our panel, just to get a perspective of community members.
Right, and that's good. My other question is administrative cost, application process, jury stipends, logistics. We're gonna pay community representatives to be on this panel? Is that the jury stipends? Okay.
No, the stipends are the 3,000, it's like 4 finalists. I'm sorry, a finalist and 4 runners-up.
Yeah,
So like if
I
we
think you're talking
got,
about this one here.
I'm talking administrative costs,
$1,000.
$1,000.
so that's the city, that's like money we'd pay for like Ann to do. If we need, I don't know if we have to, if the city has to pay. I don't know.
No, yeah, I just,
So that's what that was.
You got me. Yeah, I understand.
So that's not.
It's another one though, if it's a big enough event, it might require a project manager of some type to help
Maybe.
support.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Could we do this, do the event that we're planning in conjunction with this? As in, like, the event that we were thinking of could be the event to, announce the winners. And we could do the music, we could do the catering, and,
Sure, yeah. I mean, I think June 14th might be a little late for just announcing the winner. I mean, I think you probably need to, if we want to actually meet the budget deadline, we'd probably need to announce the winners. Either we would already need to know who the winner is by the time we,
is June 14th past the deadline?
No.
no, it's not.
I think what she's saying is if we announce it there, it might take time to get the checks and stuff cut.
Oh, word, yeah, yeah.
Maybe we just do like an unveiling of what the billboard's
Yeah.
gonna
Yeah,
look
yeah,
like
yeah,
at the
totally.
event.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I like that idea. Unveiling.
Okay. Next up is the website and, sorry. Any other questions for Emma and Joyce? Okay. Next up is Rebecca and Ann working on the website and collateral development.
You want to take the lead, Miss Rebecca?
Sure, I can do that. So Ann and I contacted several organizations. We looked both online and local. Ideally, we would like to work with someone local so that we can develop an ongoing relationship with them. There are 2 in Oregon City proper, and then there's one in Clackamas County somewhere. I can't remember the addresses on there. And there was a range of services. Some of them do their own hosting for around $600 for the year. Some of them would allow us to do the hosting for around $100 a year. All of them that we spoke with could design and configure a WordPress site, which is a longer conversation if you want to, but why we chose WordPress. And could make it, bring some artistic flair to it, as Josh said, so that it is designed in a way that is long-lasting, that will be easy to maintain, because when all of us are gone off the board and still dealing with the website. And that, like I said, there's an ongoing relationship with whoever we work with, so that should Anne need assistance, she has a person to go to. So these are the figures that we came up with. And we found that it was cost-effective and secure. Also, we talked about security, not just duration of the website, but also security.
Are you showing something, Rebecca, or?
Yeah, I
Do you
don't,
want me to show the worksheet that we were looking at earlier, or?
Oh, I thought you were going to do that.
I can. I know there were some questions about being flexible down the line or not wanting to name names before we make a decision, but I'm happy to do that.
Oh,
Maybe
right,
just give us
right.
a total, for the
Under
website.
$5,000 for website and collateral.
For website design and collateral design.
Yeah.
Okay, and
And
then,
the collateral, you know, we just would need between $3,000 to $5,000 to do everything.
okay,
We still have to have final, like, conversations with these folks, but those were the ballpark ranges that they offered,
okay.
which seems really reasonable for what we want, and all of them seem perfectly capable of doing something attractive.
Sounds good. Any questions for website collateral?
Can we go back? I'm sorry. I heard you say the hosting fees. So
Yeah,
for,
so that's the hosting, right? So the city will pay for and maintain and own the domain name.
Yep.
The Oregon OCArtsCommission.com. And then the hosting.
Which is very cheap.
Right, so I'm in favor of us hosting it because we know where it lives, we have control of where it lives, and we can control the price. Sometimes other designers like to offer their own hosting, which is totally legit, but it usually comes with a little bit higher price. The one person that is offering that did say that included in the $600 for the year of hosting, that they would always be available. What was the word, Anne? Is it on demand?
Yeah, basically on demand. If we wanted to change something, all I'd have to do is send him an email and he'd change it.
and I'm assuming there are annual fees.
Yes, those are annual
That's the annual
fees.
fee. Basically, he was charging $50 a month.
Yeah, there will be ongoing fees with having a website of our own, so it'll be out of the future budgets.
Right, and so what Ann and I were really trying to do was not just look at security and stability and longevity, but also cost, because some years we might have an extra $32,000 that
Yeah.
shows up, and some years we may not.
So I have a question real quick. So like, if we went through a platform like Square, like how advanced are we expecting our website to be? Because the basic hosting, they have a basic plan that's free. And that would just be like informational, and you can even have some e-commerce on it. So and then you bump it up to like $35 a month a year, you know, if you want to start with the paid stuff, and that has flashier bells, so to speak. So I'm not sure why, like how complicated, I understand why we would pay for web design so that we don't have to design it and build it. But for hosting, if we were going through something like Square and we were having just a basic informational website where we would be able to update, you know, pictures and information, I'm not sure. Like,
Well, it depends on what is included with that. Is that choir that's talking?
yeah,
Can't see.
okay.
So
in all fairness,
does it include?
in all fairness, I mean, I've done free websites with this, but I'm not up to date on what they currently charge. So I can't speak to this. I just Googled it real quick because I know they do provide free hosting for their basic introduction plan, which I'm not sure with all, I would have to like look that up in detail, which I can't do in a meeting because I don't pay attention that well. So, but yeah.
Yeah, and so I hear you, and I really appreciate that. Yes, there are places that, you know, like Square that will do that, but you have to go in and look at what's included. Is it, you know, is it just hosting? Does it matter what kind of website is hosted on there? Does it include SSL certificates? Does it include, you know, there's all kinds of like, now you have to have all these privacy levels
Yeah.
and stuff. Otherwise you get bombarded around the world by other app developers and stuff. So
Gotcha.
it like, there was a lot of research that went into the level of where we got to.
Okay.
And feel comfortable with it costing under $100 a year for hosting. Using, and also remember back early on, the city had said, you can do WordPress, do Squarespace. And so we talked to the IT guy there, and we just turned away from Squarespace after doing all this research.
Okay.
So without, you know, spending, this project itself is going to take a long time, and we need it done before June 30th. So I would rather not have to go down other avenues unless somebody absolutely knows, I know that this is exactly what you get for it, and this is what is hosted on it, and this is how much it costs every year, and there's no hidden fees or little surprises later on.
Yeah.
So anyway, thank you so much.
Sorry to throw a wrench in that.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Websites are always like for some reason, it's a very fiery conversation. So anyway, yeah, so Anne, just please understand that Anne and I like spent hours and hours and hours researching all of this and trying to come up with the most affordable, stable, reliable,
Right.
where she can get support later on down the road if she needs a plan.
Got it. Sorry to Google for 2 seconds and be like, I know more than your hours of research, Rebecca and Ann.
So in light of time, real quick, I'm gonna have Amy give her update on the area she was wanting to talk about for the Plan B, and then we'll bring up the budget and look at all of that together. I do have the slides here. I think.
You can either email them to me and I can, or actually, I
hold
can,
on.
if you're logged into Zoom, you can
Yeah,
just share
I'm
it
gonna
on your.
share.
Yeah.
So these aren't the actual slides here. This is slides here. Okay, it's this page. So, go ahead.
Okay.
Top one.
So we were looking into just things that would be as a backup, and then I talked to a high school art teacher. And everything just went, oh my God. So these guys have had their funding reduced over and over again. They're really hurting right now. They're to the point where school district's not even investing in one case, safe tables, and in another, there's a ceramics teacher that has all the equipment and the clay and the kiln, but can't get the ventilation. So there are big things going on that are institutional like that, and I realize that's not something we can invest in. But they would really, could really use some money just for the basic things that they used to have. This high school here used to have fees for all their classes, and that paid for the things that they used. And that went away with COVID. And then for a while there were federal funds, probably ARPA coming through, and they've gone away now. And so they're all kind of desperate. They are not, the teacher I talked to said he fought for years and years just to get textbooks. So after talking to him, and I kind of wish I could have put him on speaker call for all of you guys, because it really got me. And the reason that it's important is I don't know how many of you had art classes when you were in high school. I don't know how many of you were slightly marginalized. And the only reason you went to school was because of these classes. Exactly. And they're getting to where they just can't teach most of them. And it's heartbreaking to me. So my passionate argument will be, please, let's take some of this. And we can do it in two ways. So the music teacher, for instance, is asking for sousaphones and, what was the other that?
French horns?
Yeah, French horns.
French horn, yeah.
And because for the kids that can't afford instruments, there's a library that you can check them out. Well, they're always broken, including the guitars. So, it doesn't help the kids that don't have the resources, and the teachers feel terrible. So there were two routes we could go. I looked into what some of the actual instruments cost, because that seems something we could grab onto. But the other way to go, which I'm in favor of, is grants. Is getting the word out to all of the schools, and that would probably include middle school and maybe elementary school, and say, please apply for this grant, you're gonna get this much money, you can spend it however you feel. But they're really, really hurting, and this is kids, and this is what we want, right? We want younger generation to get involved, to feel capable, learn some stuff, get confidence, build skills. I'd rather do that than the other things we were looking at. That's just me, anyway.
So, I guess my first question is, can we just go out and buy things for a school district? Like, could we buy a sousaphone for the school district? James?
What you can do is, donate money to them to buy to buy something.
Do we have to go, since it's a school district, we don't need to go through a call for grant applications, do we? This is a school district.
It doesn't really matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't really matter. It's, we only have one school district, right?
Yeah.
So, it's only one school district, so you can donate money to the school district to buy something.
Could we donate money to the school district and say this is for your arts programs and for your art teachers to decide how it is spent?
Yes.
Okay.
We can work that deal out with them. It would probably be like an MOU that we.
Yeah, you can do, but just as long as, with all of these things, I can't stress enough that the recipient of the funds recognize the Arts Commission for the assistance. So always, this is being done, this is happening as a consequence of the Arts Commission, or made possible by the Arts Commission, whether it's hopefully it's in writing, sometimes it can be in a plaque, sometimes it could be affixed to a musical instrument, but the Arts Commission needs to be recognized for doing all these things, and it needs to be an ongoing thing.
So my question was, because I was thinking maybe we needed them to sort of apply in a minor fashion, but say, yeah, I teach this class here and I desperately need textbooks or the sousaphone or whatever. Do we need that?
If you can design it any way you like. You can design it any way you like, just as long as it's clear. And you have some type of criteria for choosing people.
That's what I was thinking, instead of just saying, here, school district, this is for your art teachers.
Yeah. I wonder, I feel like having people apply and writing a grant, I feel like for
Not
this
even a
purpose.
grant.
Yeah, or even an application process. I wonder if, I don't know if this is a thing we can do. I wonder if we could invite all the art teachers and music teachers, or the arts teachers, to a board meeting, and we could be like, we have money.
Could we?
What do you guys think?
I don't really want to make teachers compete with each other for who's going to get money from the Arts Commission. Could we instead have one or two members of this committee simply reach out to some teachers that, you've already done the work,
Yeah.
but could we just, because it's not that much money.
Yeah.
This is enough to just buy a few things. So it's like, I don't know, this isn't the same thing as promoting, doing a call for artists like the Billboard thing. This is helping out students. So it's shouldn't be in the same spirit of, let's compete. to see who's going to win our competition. Like, this is more like we're being generous and we're supporting the school district. And all we're asking in return is an acknowledgement that we've done this.
Yeah.
One thought is, we talked about an art show fundraiser. What if we turn that into, for art programs in the school district? We work with the school district to promote it. We use that money that we generate from that, and we change it maybe from a set like 2020, and we split 50-50 on a silent auction of that art at the place. Raise up money, get as much money as we can, and then give it to the school district for the equipment purchase for art programs.
Can we do it as well as a lump sum from our budget?
Yeah. Here's what, can I speak to Josh's point? I feel like if we're going to use this money that we have to spend by a certain date, to do it through a fundraiser is a really clunky way to do it. Like, we have the money now. The reason to do a fundraiser is because we need to spend the money. And so,
But the fundraiser money we raise might not have to be spent by June 30th, because it's new money. So we would just have to get that to confirm that that's the case, right? That any new money we raise from spending the money that we have to spend by June 30th could be allocated to a new something else past June 30th. So if we didn't get to the district till July 1st, they still could get the money.
Yeah, you watch the money.
Plus,
I mean, yes,
The term is dangerous in this.
plus then we're still getting to do the event and promote the Arts Commission
Yeah, that's
in that
true.
way. And then that gets the schools included, so then maybe students are participating in the,
That's true.
in the,
Yeah.
in the event as well as their families. And I think it could be really cool.
Really cool.
Like could be a really cool collaboration.
And the silent auction means more money for us, the program, the schools, and when I say us, the schools and for the artists, right? It makes it, and I think more people would be willing to spend money when they know that that money's going towards art programs in schools.
Yeah, and we can also do either new or existing art. We don't have to be like we don't have to buy the panels, and we don't have to do that. The artist can bring, we could say in a size range, and we could say a number of pieces that you would like to, donate to the silent auction. I still think it would be great to give the artist a percentage. Like, artists are constantly asked to donate things for free for exposure.
No, my intent was 50-50, split it.
50-50, I'm sorry, yeah. That's cool, I like that.
I kind of like the idea of maybe it could be both. Because I think you're gonna bring a lot of people in if they know they can take home an affordable art piece.
That's true.
So maybe we could have the little panels, and then also there could be the silent auction for bigger pieces.
Okay.
And, this sounds like a really, really nice event to promote the arts, and maybe you can take it up a notch by inviting KTU TV or one of the television stations, even one of the personalities to manage, to MC the public, to MC the situations, the silent auction. And, he can dress up, or she can dress up in a formal attire and make it really a nice affair. But you can do that.
So, 2 questions. So, Josh, you're wanting to do that in lieu of any kind of lump?
I think it gets us to both places, right? We're talking about giving them money, but if we can basically multiply the effect and the value of the money that we're spending to get a great art show, get, promotion of actual artists, have students participate in, which I think a lot of students would love to be able to say, oh, I had an art piece that, some people bought off the thing. And then also basically the outcome of that is the generosity of Oregon City citizens goes towards funding schools, art programs in schools.
So that was a yes. Emma.
Okay.
I just was like, is this what you're saying?
Yeah.
That's okay. And then to Emma's point, do I just go talk to more people and go, I like you, and I like you?
I mean, you've already given us enough to spend all of the money just on, it sounds like these are really needed.
No, they really, really are. But if we're going this way and we have a lump sum, how do we identify the grant
Well, we
recipients?
can't help everybody, but.
So you're saying yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say we talk to the school district itself and say, we're gonna donate this money to you, you're responsible for allocating it to the art programs within your schools.
Oh, Scheist,
but I mean,
they
why
might not
can't
get
we-
there, talk
Why,
to the
yeah, no, why
teachers.
can't we just work?
Yeah, because the teachers are all like, no money ever gets.
No, let's just work with Amy as our designated person and have Amy like find the needs and bring it back to us.
Okay, so you're still saying be selective.
Yeah,
Okay.
but I
That
mean,
makes me
you've already
nervous,
found
but
great
okay.
needs that are arts needs, and
Yeah.
you've already described us that this is desperate and they're not
It is.
getting, and you've made the case for how important this is for, kids who want to, explore the arts. And you, Josh, and you, Choir, you both connected it with something else and, that we wanted to do. So, I mean, it sounds like we have a plan.
Is this something that might be annual?
Yeah.
Okay.
That'd be great.
Well, that would make me,
That's what we were thinking.
that would make me feel better.
Yeah.
Because if I pick these two and then I find out, oh my God, there are those two, it would be really nice to know. We can
Of
get
course,
back.
you'll find out that there's those two.
So real quick, some pieces of information that I think we may have left out from our presentation that I think need to be addressed before we move forward. So if we are going to provide these panels at this price, I have to order them tomorrow. FYI. I got a great price. I got $1.50 per panel. They already come with little hanging, they're very thin, but they will support all media.
Okay, so what I have up here is basically some of the pricing that we've been talking about. I don't have up here the schools, because if we're gonna incorporate it in, it wouldn't be an allocated budget at this point. So, artists and author talk poetry, 4 artists, $2,500 stipend, $500 rental space, and $500 refreshments for 4 different events. We're talking about $14,000. The art show, performance event, I bumped it up to about 8,000. We can do more if we're gonna be bringing it up. We can allocate more to that, but based on the original numbers I saw. Art for Every Heart contest, we had 36,000 was the highest, so that was with the billboards and all of that. And then for the website, Rebecca said 5,000 range is reasonable. All in all, that brings the total account to 63,000. We have, was there a question? All in all, we have 32,600 we have to spend this year. So,
So we're over budget, Josh.
well over budget.
Well, these were all just proposals. I think the idea is we're going to pick one or two.
Right, that's what I was thinking.
You almost got it without the billboard.
Yeah, if we didn't, I'll do this for 1 second. If we didn't do that, we're at 27,000.
How confident do we feel that we could make this author series happen before July 1st?
I worked on both of these ideas, but I'd rather just have the money go to the schools and do this idea that Choir and Josh and and you are excited about. I mean, it sounds like a winning. It sounds like.
Yeah, I mean, I think,
Because if we spent the $5,000 on a website and $8,000 on the event, and then we would have the leftover money from
19,000.
$19,000 could
For the
go
schools.
directly to the schools for what they need right
That
now,
sounds great.
which I like that.
I like that.
Wow. I love you.
We haven't voted on it yet, come down.
Just let me make another suggestion.
This is precisely like what I was hoping for to happen, but I thought there would be some kind of conflict or issue with doing
Oh,
that.
you want to conflict them?
No.
Well, maybe we'll say something.
No, I'm not advocating for this, but I'm just making the suggestion that I don't know if we could dial back the billboard project a little bit and maybe bring the budget down, if that's a possibility. Maybe
Yeah.
we,
I feel like we don't want to. I mean, we've only got 3 months to do
Yes.
this.
Yeah.
So, I feel like we shouldn't try to do too many things, even though
True.
I like the billboard
yeah.
idea,
I
but
do love the idea. I
maybe
think it's
we
really
could do
cool.
it next year.
Yeah.
Yeah, and that's
I
what I was
think
thinking
both-
about the artists or the authors series,
Yeah.
is that might be something that we explore
Yeah, maybe we
doing
could
when we
do
have
that
more
next
time to prepare for it. 'Cause I think
I
it would be
agree.
really cool. The billboard though, I mean, if it's feasible to like dial back the budget, maybe we could do all three of these things.
I mean, we could, but it's a lot to do.
It's gonna take a lot of organization too. This thing that y'all are talking about, if it's just the two of you, it's gonna be hard.
Which,
Yeah, we're gonna need more help.
if,
Everybody's helping.
We'll have bandwidth if we're not working on the others.
we're over time right now, so I want to first stop and make sure everyone is just conscious of that time, and I don't want to overtake people's time. I'd like to get this approved tonight so we can move forward with it. Is everyone okay staying an extra till 9 o'clock?
Yes.
Get
Yes.
through this and make sure we
I
do this.
have to be home by 9.
You have to be home by 9? Okay.
I just live 5 minutes away.
Okay, so let's try and aim for 8:50 then, be wrapped up. So what I'm hearing is set aside 19,600 for the school initially, and then the plan is to raise the rest of the funds through this event fundraiser or auction, whatever we end up going with. I think if it's going to be this big of an event, we need to hire a project manager to do it. And I know some of the other
I'm
events,
sorry,
but
Josh, what do you mean by raising funds? I thought we weren't raising funds.
yes,
We're just spending funds?
no.
We were saying do both.
So the idea of the art show performance is that any proceeds we get from that for the sale of the art or the auction would go towards then funding art programs in schools in Oregon City.
So we need to.
So it's doubling the money value.
Oh, we already
Yeah.
have a project manager on there.
Yes.
Yeah, fundraiser for separate cause, but also promotes Art Commission and gets us involved in our community more.
And promotes other artists in the community
Yeah.
as well. So it's adding a value, I think, to the money that we're spending.
Threefold value.
Does the advertisement budget for the art show include like flyers and all that?
Yeah, we might need to
that-
bump that a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Maybe
That is very low.
doesn't
500.
seem quite enough.
Project manager put 2,000, but I think that could probably be up to
You
like
can play with
4,000.
it too. I think you've got the basic categories now.
So,
If we're putting all our eggs
I have a
in the
question.
art show basket.
yes.
I have a question. So, initially, when we talked at the strategic planning meeting, one of the ideas for Art for Every Heart was to set aside $1,000 for an artist of any age to come up with a biennium logo. And then $1,000 for any artist of any kind of art form to create a artistic response. And those would be used on the website.
Right.
To not only profile those artists, but also to help us with, something, a logo that we can use every 2 years, since we have to stay within the city's brand guidelines. So if we can still find $2,000 for something like that, and maybe the artists, since we're gonna be doing schools in the focus of schools, then maybe it's to the students of the schools, like maybe it's not just to all artists. So anyway, I just wanna kind of put that back in there.
Yeah, and I think that was what Joyce, that's what your proposal was based off of.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so you were saying, Rebecca, about 2,000 would be for the Arts of Every Heart contest for the winners, which we can even announce the winners at the event as well.
Correct.
Okay,
And then that way, that gives us material for the website.
yeah,
I mean, I know we have plenty of material, but I'm really looking for, that Art for Every Heart logo, and it would be cool if it's a biennium thing, so it's part of our biennium budget, and that it changes out every 2 years, and that gives everybody an opportunity within the community to think about it, what does that mean to them and what does that look like to them?
Okay. So based on all the feedback, 10,000 plus for the art show budget, 2,000 for the Arts for Every Heart contest, 5,000 for the website, and 15,200 already that will designate for Oregon City School art programs.
That sounds great.
Everyone, any other comments, thoughts, questions before we ask for a motion?
Yeah, my question, how much, I need some guidance on how to distribute that 15 to, like, I understand I'm gonna go find some teachers, but does anybody get, is there a limit? Do each teacher get 5 or?
I think that we have to figure that out. I don't think we're planning it
Oh,
here.
good, okay.
We're not, that's not the point of tonight, was to plan it, it was just to allocate the funds, and then I want to be very careful in the motion we make. I want to say, we approve spending up to the limit of this budget, and for those people that are identified as the leaders to go and basically produce this. So,
Can I say something? For the Art for Every Heart contest, like I remember that primarily being Rebecca's idea, and then Joyce ran with that. Could both of you guys work on that if we do set aside those funds?
I feel like I got my hands full with the website with
Fair
Anne.
enough. Yeah.
So if there's someone else that could, I'm happy to be like, here's the concept
Yeah.
and kind of get clear on that. I think keeping it as simple as possible, there's 2 pieces. One is the graphic design, the visual, and the other is the artistic response, which could be a poem, a dance, a song, a painting, a piece of, I don't know, generative art that they do through coding. I have no idea. But it could be any kind of artistic response to what does Art for Every Heart mean?
Well, but it has to be visual if we're gonna use it on our website?
Well, you could put a video of a music performance or a dance performance.
Yeah, exactly.
You don't have to.
All right.
Yeah.
You mentioned using it as a logo, right?
Like two things.
Oh,
So
two
like,
things,
yeah.
sorry.
Yeah. Oh, it's okay.
So, in terms of, before we do the motion, so the one other thing is that we could either break it down and have just 2 people work on it, which isn't a lot of manpower or person power to get something done. The other option is we do more meetings to try and get this planned out as a commission, or we form some type of committee to work on this as well. What is everyone thinking? Do we want to just keep it to the 2 and hire the project manager for the event? The website stuff, I think Rebecca and Ann are working on. We can add someone else there as well. And then I heard Joyce's name for the Arts for Every Heart. I don't know, Emma, if you still want to support that project, or we can identify someone else to help with that, but.
I'd like to work with them. And like, if you have the band.
Okay, sure.
Okay.
It sounds like a pretty simple project.
Choir and Amanda, how are you feeling?
I think if we're going to have a project manager hired, then a lot of those logistical tasks that would be really time consuming will be taken care of by that person.
Okay.
So I don't know that we would need a committee, say. What do you think, choir?
I heard Josh just briefly throw out maybe $2,000, $4,000 for the project manager.
I have 4,000 on here.
Okay, so, I can't, thank you. I'm just thinking, I think we could still use a committee for the fact that $4,000 is not a hefty sum for somebody to be like, here's our thing, run with it type of thing for the project manager. I think it could still be helpful maybe to have a couple more people working on it.
Sure, yeah. If anybody wants to get involved, I'm just laughing because I get paid less than that to do Porch Fest.
I'm sorry.
It's way more work.
Okay.
You should become a certified project manager.
Maybe so.
You would kill it, you get paid.
Could be a corporate project manager.
Yeah, seriously.
You'd make so much money.
Just a point of clarification. So when we talk about committees, we're talking about 2 persons?
No, in this case, it would be more than two persons, which would require it be open meeting. So we'd have to agendize, we'd have to do all that.
Right.
Which I can-
Well, in that case, maybe not, you're right.
Not do that.
Yeah, you're right.
You guys are gonna need,
Manager.
you can decide, the decision's up to you. There's a lot of moving pieces here. I can help you agendize things. Don't let that be the obstacle. We
Does anybody else want to be on a committee to do this with us?
I would join. I mean, part of my job is planning events all over the world, so I don't mind doing that.
Yeah.
Okay, good. Then yes, we do want to form a committee.
Awesome. And yeah, so when you guys want to meet, just let me know and I can work to get that publicized.
Okay.
I'd like to say something. So, if Josh is willing to work on this project, I think I would like to actually recuse myself from this project. Because I'm going to be starting some medical treatments and I don't know how that's going to affect me for the next month or so.
Okay. So we'll still go ahead and form the committee though. And maybe it only has to be once to get most of the stuff figured out and then it's just implementation after that. So with that, I'd like to have someone make a motion to approve the budget allocation for the events, the projects as shown on the screen. And the identified project leads have the authority to make decisions on behalf of the Arts Commission in respect to those contests. We'll have them report back at the next meeting as long as they stay within the budget. Rebecca, your hand's up.
Yes, and I meant to have it up. The budget that I'm seeing is it the one that's up on the screen right now, the blue line and the peach and the purple and green and yellow?
Yeah, so what I'm looking, and I can hide these so it's clear.
That helps me.
So it's 10,400 for the art show performance, 2,000 for the Art for Every Heart contest, 5,000 for the website, and then 15,200 for the school arts program.
Okay, and then the ones that you had were the ones that Emma presented, which were the talks and the billboards. I still think those are really brilliant ideas, so I just don't want to lose the information that we have because it would be really cool to resurrect those in the future.
Yeah, don't worry, I'll be on the committee for another 2 years.
Okay, good.
Well, yeah, let's, those are good points and we can for sure add those as ideas to share with in the future, so.
Okay, cool. Thank you.
Okay. So is anyone who would like to make that motion to approve the budgets as shown and to grant authority to the individuals identified to work those projects? The committee for the art show will have a sign up for that and then we'll set a meeting date and time to talk about it.
I would like to make a motion.
I second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, perfect. We're at 8:50.
Let me say a big go team. This is huge. This is a lot. This is great.
I'm gonna have to go, Josh, I'm sorry.
I have a follow-up question.
Yes.
Choir, what do you need to be able to order those panels tomorrow?
Yeah, I need money.
Is that something I can talk to you about after? Okay.
I've got a city credit card, which we can get that started and then. Cool.
Great, thanks.
In terms of the rest of the agenda items we have on here, the update on the public renovation grant. Anne, you want to talk just 2 minutes on that?
Oh, great, thank you. Yes, so in addition to these funds that we have to spend by the end of the fiscal year, we have $28,000 in restoration funds from the, that we also need to spend. I've received two people that have filled out the response to the qualified vendor, qualified artist application. I've had a couple conversations with with Mike Cole, who's the owner of the building that has the Hop family portrait on it. I'm hoping that we will be able, so I'm trying to help him figure out a scope of work that would address the needs of that portrait as identified in our art assessment. But I don't know what that project's gonna look like yet, and he hasn't applied, but we've had a couple conversations. I've also reached out to our Parks Department because of the mural that's existing at DC Lateret Park has been damaged, and it may be possible that the Parks Department could reach out and secure an artist to do some repairs to that mural. So that's moving forward. I think also that we could do a project to support the elevations in transition that's in the municipal elevator that was identified as being damaged. So I'm trying to scope that out. So those are the three moving pieces right now. I know that the salmon bench remains something we want to do, but I don't know how to move that one forward.
I did talk to the artist. I can send you an update.
Great.
Offline.
Okay.
It sounds like they think they can. They can't repair it to full, new status, but they could do some updates to it to try and make it look a little bit better. So it's whether or not we want to put money towards that or not. But I can talk to you offline about that when I've heard back from them. Any other questions on the public art renovation grants? Okay, next thing was the initial strategic planning initiatives. I drafted some initiatives. I will have Ann send those out to the group for feedback and responses on those. There's 4 of them. I think ultimately we want to stay within 3 to 4 for the strategic plan. One of the big things that I would like to get done in this year is a strategic plan. So we can talk about that then. Any questions on the strategic plan before we move to the next topic? Okay, we're running through these real quick because we got some important ones at the end. Trail news. So initial content for the trail news spring or summer copy is due in February 14th. So my feeling is that what we could try and advertise is, of course, the event.
Yes.
So we could draft up some initial stuff, work with Ann on that, to then submit it for inclusion. Are there any objections to us utilizing that as an advertisement for the event? Okay. Then we get into comments. There was one topic that we did add. We added the May Commission meeting presentation. I've started drafting a outline for what I'd like to talk to the City Commission about when we talk about what we've been working on and what our upcoming events and ideas are. I will start working through a presentation that I will have Ann send out to the group before the next meeting. I'd like to get feedback on it then so that it can get approved then, so that what I share is fully approved by the commission before it goes to the city. So just be on the lookout for that. We won't get into too much of it more at this time. The big items we wanted to talk about. So the one was the Clackamas Art Alliance Public Art Commission Committee. By email, I heard Amy volunteered for that. Was there anyone else who would be interested in participating in that? I don't think it's restricted to one participant. We could have multiple, I would say up to 2 probably participate. Is there anyone else who'd be interested in participating in that? Sure, okay. Did I hit someone over here? Okay. Okay, so with that, I'd like to hear if there's a nomination to approve Amy and Joyce to represent the Oregon City Arts Commission on the Clackamas Arts Alliance Public Art Commission Committee.
The Arts Groups and Councils Committee, sorry.
Okay.
We also have a Public Arts Committee.
Got it.
Is it CCAA or?
Yeah.
Okay.
I make a motion to approve Amy and Joyce.
Okay, is there a second?
A second.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Sorry, who was the second?
Maren. All those who oppose, say nay. Okay, that one's done. Thank you both for volunteering for that. There's also the Clackamas County Cultural Coalition Grant Program, which ends on April 17th, up to $5,000 grants. Do we want to try and submit for that? My thinking is, if maybe we got one of those, we could use it for one of the talks that Emma proposed earlier. For I think she had one person on there who was an author for Indigenous history.
Yeah.
It might be worth using those funds for that event. So people want us to apply using that. We could still get one in the June timeframe, I think. We would have to use the funds, I think, by the end of the year, though. So it doesn't have to be
Yeah,
within that.
that would be
It's by
doable.
actually next year, by June next year, something like that, by May next
Okay,
year.
okay. Because we won't meet again before the
When is the deadline?
April 17th.
Okay.
So if people are interested, I'm happy to take the lead on filling out the grant application for it. And I can work with Emma on
Yeah.
putting together the pieces. Since she's not here, she'll get voluntold, but,
Good.
anyone who wants to put forward that motion?
If you're gonna do it, I'll put forward that motion.
Require a motion. Is there a second?
I second.
Nice.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say nay. Okay, that one's approved. Last one was the public event funding. Round 2 starts on March 27th and goes till May 26th. So we have time to talk about that one some more, but that was something else I'd like everyone to take a look at. James sent out the information on it. It looks interesting and might be something we could use for maybe the next round of our event if it's successful.
Yeah.
So we could talk about that more later. Any questions or other comments that people want to make?
Could you please email the spreadsheet to us?
I will save it and send it to Ann and have her distribute it.
Great.
Yeah.
If nothing else, I will then ask that we adjourn the meeting. We got done before 9 o'clock, which is great. Thank you all for staying on and staying late, and safe travels home.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.